Well, hello friends, and thank you for joining me yet again. Hello, Katty, how you doing there this morning?
Hi, Carol. How are you?
Oh, I'm grand. All the better, as I said, for seeing you. You were up there this morning at the apparition site. Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, Carol. So we all rise about 3:30 in the morning, and we go to begin our rosary at 4:15 at the Annunciation, and we climb the hill together. And it's lovely and cool at that time of the morning because the daytime is so hot here in Medjugorje. And then at the top of Apparition Hill, beside Our Lady's statue, we do another rosary. And the last decade this morning, Maria prayed the last decade. And during the last decade, Our Lady started to appear to her while we were all at the top and while the sun had just come out. So we start in the darkness. And then by the time Our Lady comes, the sun has come up.
You're into the light.
Yeah. So there's thousands of people there and it's so beautiful. There's no issues like people just moving up the hill, so many people there on their way to work. I met so many Croatians like doing their rosary, and then they were on their way to work after that. So it's a good time of the day. Everybody's free, but you do have to get up at 3:30 in the morning. So
Yeah,
it's an
yeah,
early
yeah.
start.
And it was also live on Mary TV, which is wonderful.
Yeah, so everybody around the world can, because I'm sure most people, their priest is not going to do a 9-day novena up to the anniversary of Medjugorje.
Yes.
Or most priests, they don't do 9-day novenas anymore. You might get a 3-day triduum or something. So it's fantastic that the priests here will do this 9-day
Yeah.
novena and that everybody can take part. And it's that support in prayer that really helps us all, that motivates us to do it, whereas we mightn't do it on our own.
Again, Maria said that, Our Lady said that she asked us to pray for peace, not just this morning on the hill, but throughout all the day. So again, leaning into prayer, again, and how blessed we are. I'm also, reminded that imagine that Our Lady is greeting us, coming down from heaven yet again, like last year, for 9 days, 9 evenings, 9 nights. How blessed we are, Kathy, to be living in this time, because this is a year where the plenary indulgence is offered to us. We're in a year of mercy, a jubilee year. And it's very important, I guess, even myself, that we're mindful of this gift, this grace, these amazing graces given to us through the church that sometimes we can forget about. Obviously, sometimes we're busy with life and so forth, but we need to lean into this again and really accept these graces from heaven, right?
Yeah, because I don't see many priests reminding the people every day of that plenary indulgence. And really, they should be praying the prayers with the people, claiming the indulgence and praying the prayers that should be said. And, so you have two chances every day. You can pray for yourself and you can pray for Holy Soul. And when you get the Holy Souls out of purgatory, that's a great blessing that returns on your own family. Like we know in Knock that when the priest got everybody to pray for the Holy Souls for the 100 masses,
Yeah.
then Our Lady appeared and
Yeah.
it was great strengthening of faith because the release into heaven brings down graces on the people on the earth. So I'm saying if we were claiming that grace every day for the Holy Souls, I claim it every day. So thanks be to God, Our Lady's church here in St. James's Church is a door of mercy. So every time I go to daily mass and when I go in that door every day at mass, I try and claim that plenary indulgence.
Yes, and of course the rosary is said out there twice. It's said at 4 p.m. and 4:15 a.m. So this is special, right, Kathy? Very special.
Yeah, so yesterday I did the 4 p.m. one with the priest of the parish, and he did the rosary as we climbed the hill. And that was very special, but it was mainly Croatians because the heat is extreme. For Irish people, it is a little bit extreme, the heat of the day. But the priest just reminded me of like he's walking in the footsteps of Father Slavko. Because when I came here in the 90s, it was Father Slavko every Sunday that did the rosary on Apparition Hill. And I remember the first time I came, so I didn't know anything about Medjugorje, and I went to the Sunday climbing up the hill at 2 o'clock when you do the rosary. And if you stand next to the priest, he hands you the microphone, and then you have to pray out loud as you climb the hill. So I remember the first time I was like, It's hard enough. I was there in August when it was really hot, and I was thinking it's hard enough to climb the hill for an Irish
Don't
person in the
mind
States.
talk.
And
Yep.
now I have to do the prayers as well as I'm climbing. But, so that's the Croatians. They go the extra yard, of sacrifice. And the priest yesterday in his habit and everything, like the heat of the day, and he never, it was really respectfully done, and he was great.
Yes. What a grace to be out there and to participate. I wish I was there myself, but we
Mm.
wanted to talk again, share about perseverance and faithfulness because as we said in our previous videos, this is what's going to get us through life in general. But when we look back at the Croatians, what they had been through, it was a communist state. Um, and now look at it, how they persevered and were faithful. And even when you go out there, you see them carrying people up, the sick. They are phenomenal, their faithfulness towards Our Lady. So share a little bit about that.
So, Carol, somehow suffering makes us stronger in our life. The people who have suffered more can endure more. Like God only gives us what we can endure, but the Croatians had so much suffering in the time of communism.
Yeah.
And they're suffering people. They can really sacrifice. When we come here, we think, "Oh, I can't sacrifice this the way the people can here." And then the simplicity, like God chose 6 children. So children are so honest. And I remember that one of the first things that Jacob said was, "Oh, Our Lady says we're going to persevere." He didn't say Our Lady said we're going to be holy. No, he said Our Lady said we're going to persevere. He was just repeating the words of what Our Lady had said. So it's the faithfulness of the Croatians and the perseverance. It doesn't have to be particularly that you're the holiest person, but your perseverance, their perseverance means that these graces have lasted so long, and will last for all of eternity. Medjugorje will be known as this great place but God particularly chose the Croatian people and the likes of Father Slavko and Father Jozo, all those great Franciscan priests. Father Jozo had to go to prison for his faith, for defending the children. Maria, the visionary, will tell you that they thought that they were going to be martyred. They thought that, the communists were threatening. They really thought that they were going to be martyred. She admitted that they wouldn't be coming back to their families. That was the fear of the time, that the state was so strongly against, any witnessing to the faith.
And again, it was that faithfulness and that perseverance that got the country through whatever it was going through. And now look at it now. Now look at the country.
And if we have courage, that's the thing. So, the fear seemed to be so huge at the time, but if a little bit of courage did knock down the communism. So, a little bit of courage, it doesn't take too much courage for the people to, turn things around. That's what I would say. We think it's a big task, but actually it's not. Satan is not strong. And if we only had the courage to do the right thing very quickly, we would turn things around if the people all came together,
So for us, Katy, what does perseverance and faithfulness look like? Does that mean that we pray every day? We attend to
it's a decision that we're based on God. So, the world has a material system that we're based on our job, or, people get up every day to work and the system is running them. They're caught up in this system. The system tells them what to do. But, when you have faith, you're on the system of God. You get up every day to come to church, to Mass. Okay, God, what's the plan for the day? How can we help? How can we renew the world? How can we build up the world in a better way? So we're not tied into a system. We have the freedom of the Holy Spirit and we have free choice to do good, So if the system of the country or whatever fell down, we would still be based on our discipline of prayer and God, and that's the center of our life. But for the people who have given their trust over to the material system, if that collapses, they won't know what to do. And they kind of sense it collapsing, and that's why they don't have peace. Really, they're losing their peace.
So you need to cooperate with God. We were talking earlier on about the 10 Commandments. I mean, they're fundamental to my life, have been for many years. They should be a foundation of all of our lives, right?
Yeah, so we have one message here. So if we talk about Our Lady's messages. So in the 90s, she's specifically telling, that the prayers have brought the war to an end. And so we see her messages in the 90s, she's referring to the war here. So it would be similar to what she would say as the wars in other places in the world now. So there was a message here in October 1993, which was around the time of the war here. Dear children, these years I've been calling you to pray, to live what I am telling you, which we mentioned in our last video, to live what I'm telling you, but you are living my messages a little. You talk, but do not live. That is why, little children, this war is lasting so long. I invite you to open yourselves to God and in your hearts to live with God, living the good and giving witness to my messages. I love you and wish to protect you from every evil, but you do not desire it. Dear children, I cannot help you if you do not live God's commandments, if you do not live the Mass, if you do not give up sin. I invite you to be apostles of love and goodness in this world of unrest. Give witness to God and God's love, and God will bless you and give you what you seek from him. So, Carol, it's a choice. We get up every day with a choice. And we see, you were speaking about what happened in the UK yesterday. Yeah. And, it's just unbelievable that the people in charge or legislators would bring in such laws.
Yeah, for the life of the unborn can be terminated at 9 months. And you ask yourself, why is Our Lady coming? She's coming because all of this is happening in our world, and she needs our prayers, and she needs our sacrifices and our suffering, and just what we can do with that suffering. Like I say, Kathy, as we mentioned in the last 2 videos, we need to use all of our suffering now for redeeming all of these horrible and horrific things that are happening in our world, particularly against the innocent. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And like I say, this is the year of mercy. The Lord wants to give us his mercy, right, Kathy? And we need to accept it and pray and pray. Keep saying pray, because we are in unprecedented times, no doubt, right?
Yeah, but people are still putting their trust in the system, in their politicians, and the legislators. And we have to come back. Like Our Lady says, pray, because it's our intercession to God that renews the world. It's everybody choosing God, to be at peace with God, that will bring peace into the world. It's not of our own human strength.
Yeah.
And we can't rely on the humans that are in charge. But woe to them, because you remember in the Divine Will and the volumes, there was the King of Italy, and he had to go to purgatory to answer for every soul that was lost during his reign. So these people that are in charge, they don't understand the responsibility.
They don't understand the consequences for their actions.
They don't, because this is, that he had to go to purgatory to answer for each soul.
And there will be divine justice, no doubt about that. It's on its way. But we also want to talk about, again, the importance of the priest, Kathy, and the importance of having good priests. We need to protect our priests, pray for them, because without them, we can't receive the Lord, right?
Yeah, so Medjugorje was really protected by the Franciscan priests here, I would say, and they have kept the place safe over the 44 years. They have cooperated with Our Lady, and that's why all the graces still come through Medjugorje.
Yeah, and just noticing now, of course, Catholic podcasters are obviously tuning into what's happening in Medjugorje, but also tuning into the secrets, and that there's a lot of talk about them, and that how they will herald in the world of peace. Speak into that a little bit, because we don't know when the secrets are going to be revealed to us, but I know there seems to be an urgency right now where people are asking that.
Yeah, well, Our Lady promised us in Fatima a time of peace. So a time of peace is, nearly upon us. And she says she waits impatiently in Medjugorje, her messages say she's waiting impatiently for this peace to come. But that's dependent on all of us choosing that peace, so a peace is, just about to happen. So Mother Gabriel always says, let this happen, because it has to happen to purify the earth for the time of peace.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is a time of chastisement. There's no doubt about it. And the
And,
only
and
way,
we bring that chastisement on ourselves. That's not
yeah,
about God. You know, we get what we
yeah,
deserve. So people bring destruction on themselves because they don't want God. They choose evil. And that's what's happening. But we can only choose God and choose the good and, you know, go forward in peace. But
yes.
a time of peace is like very close by.
Well, you know, friends, this video is all about, again, perseverance and being faithful. Getting back to basics, going back to the 10 Commandments, listening to Our Lady's messages, attending Mass, attending the sacraments. Live a simple faith, and more importantly, live with love in your heart. Forgive those around you, because we will all face divine justice in our lives. And we want to encourage you, don't be frightened by what's going on, be frightened by what's contained in any of these videos, but rather to encourage you and to empower you about the beauty of our faith and the grace that's happening right now. This year, the plenary indulgence, this year of mercy, this Jubilee year, and Our Lady appearing yet again for 9 nights. We got to wake up. We have to wake up, all of us, and take advantage of what's going on and be faithful to our Lord, our Blessed Mother, and of course, our Church. Kathy, thank you for joining me today again.
And Carol, just one more reminder for people: on Sunday is the reconsecration of Ireland to the Sacred Heart in Knock.
Yes, what a brave bishop to take this on, and we want to congratulate him in doing that. So it's all going to be happening in Knock. On the backdrop of all of this chaos, we have some wonderful, great things happening. Where grace abounds, where sin abounds, grace abounds. So we take comfort in that. Again, thank you for joining me at home. Kathy out there at Medjugorje, thank you. Until next time.
God bless, Carol.
God bless, and bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.